A few years ago, Brawl Esports was the most competitive it has ever been, but now just a few years later, it's not in the great place that it used to be, and if you've seen Twitter, you would know. So yeah, in this video, I want to talk about the issues in current Brawl Esports, from meta, from drafts, from all that kind of stuff, and the first thing I do want to bring up is the Brawler meta. I don't think I've ever seen this amount of pros complain about the meta like this much before. It's an insane amount on Twitter if you guys haven't seen it, and I do think a lot of it is valid criticism. Because every month since the release of Hyperchargers in about September 2023, Brawl Stars releases a brawler every single month, and like half of those are game breaking, where you need to ban or pick them in over 90% of every competitive game until they finally get nerfed like a month or two later. So we have a new game-breaking brawler every 1 to 2 months, then 6 new hypercharges every 1 to 2 months, and usually a couple of those are broken, like this time Hank, Mr. P, those are some of the best we've ever seen. And on top of that, you know, the normal balance changes every 1 to 2 months, and all that completely shifts the meta for the bad, and that is how you get the meta that we're in today. Like in this current meta, you have Mr. P and Hank, which have 2 of the best hypercharges ever released, and then Ollie got buffed to Oblivion, which makes them the clear top 3 in this current meta. And specifically in competitive, the rest of the drafting meta just is going to revolve around those 3 brawlers. Like you ban them, they're banned, and that's a full waste of your bans. But if they're open, then all these brawlers like Lu, anti-tanks, and then Poco, support tanks, it's all anti-tank support and then the best brawlers in the game. And it's easy for, you know, someone on Twitter to just say, oh, you can just ban those brawlers, but then you become predictable in draft, and you're just probably going to lose the draft anyway if you do ban all 3 at the same time. You can't just win doing the same bans every time. Like, it just makes the game entirely revolve around these brawlers and nothing else. Like, I've seen a couple people refer to it as like rock, paper, scissors, which the game used to be rock, paper, scissors before draft, and now they add draft, and it still is essentially rock, paper, scissors with the bans instead of the picks this time. You have 6 blind bans where you hope you just read your opponent's bans right and get a better matchup because of it. And then by the time these new brawlers finally get nerfed and their hypercharges get nerfed, the cycle just restarts. Like today, the new Sam hypercharge is insane. It's like stupidly good, and who even knows when that thing is going to get balanced. I just think with the meta being so inconsistent and more brawlers and more overpowered abilities like gadgets, hypercharges being added, it just slowly takes away from the mechanical skill of the game. Like you have gadgets added in 2020, then gears added in 2022, then hypercharges in 2023, and even now infinite gadgets now. And also don't even get me started on that tank trait. Like getting a free super for dying it's just not fair. And all these things are great for the game, like as a casual player. It's honestly really fun to play with like hypercharges, gadgets. I can't even blame Brawl Stars for it, but it's just taken away from the competitive aspect. Like there just has to be some clear separation, I feel like. Like it used to be a skill to try and bait the opponent's gadgets. You know, they had 3 gadgets, and once they finally ran out, you could punish them. I don't know if they ran out of M's gadgets, not G knockbacks. You could finally run them down, but now there's no way to do that with infinite gadgets. Like there's just no outplay potential. Or another skill was playing a control comp, which is like the most mechanically skilled comp by far, where you just spend the entire game poking, trying to play perfect the entire game, and you can't feed them a single time. But now a Hank just is going to run at you, get a free super. It doesn't even need to hit you, and it's just going to get a super and a hypercharge from its tank trait. That's just going to kill you instantly. And the whole issue is skill being taken out of the competitive game. It just makes the game so focused on draft. It's literally making every pro player go insane. For me as the drafter on LG, it was to the point where I just practiced drafts all day rather than even scrim. Like, I didn't even want to scrim. It's just mind-numbing drafts. Like, what's the point of even scrimming to get better at the game when you can just win by draft? For example, you have teams like ECP and EU, BC and NA, which don't get me wrong, they've 100% deserved their points. They've been one of the best teams in their region, but it's just mind-blowing to see them go from nobodies to start sweeping their regions in not even a year because they just draft better than everybody. And draft should always be important. Like draft is an entirely important part of the game, but the issue is that there's no longer a way to outskill a bad draft because of how brawler counters work. If you're a Piper into a Byron on an open map, Piper obviously has the favorable matchup. Like it's obviously going to beat you most of the time, but the Piper is eventually going to run out of gadgets, and then it becomes a little bit easier to beat. But now every single interaction, Byron v Piper, it's going to always have a curve gadget for a guaranteed shot, and it also has a hypercharge as well that the Byron just doesn't have. So every single time the Piper is going to have a favorable matchup no matter what. And this goes for every brawler counter matchup. It's with infinite gadgets and hypercharges, the counter just becomes 10 times harder to outplay. Like there's just no outplay potential. You have pros literally arguing with each other, saying it's easy to just blame the state of the game rather than improve to get better skill-wise. But the simple fact is there's no room for improvement outside of drafting and trying to counter your opponent as hard as possible, because that's just how important countering a brawler is, which is just the main issue, and there's no denying it. I mean, take Crazy Raccoon, the best team the last 4 years, the best team skill-wise by a pretty big gap the last 2 years, but it did not matter the last 2 worlds because Humble and Zeta were good enough skill-wise to match them that their drafts would just do the rest. And I think that's how it should be. Draft should obviously be the difference maker. Like if teams are decently even skill-wise, it should be the difference maker. But this year, it's gotten a lot worse in my opinion. It's a lot more than just the difference maker. It is the difference. And looking at it from a purely viewer standpoint, it's just not fun to go into a game knowing already who's gonna win just because whoever has comp is gonna win every single time. So outside of the issues in-game like draft and meta, a big format issue for every region besides Europe is where BSC locates the servers. Like in 2023, all the regions were split into sub-regions, and this was the most fair and competitive way in terms of ping and server locations. You had NA split into East and West, you had SA the same East and West, and Asia had like 5 different regions where Australia finally didn't get screwed over. Sorry, Australia. But yeah, it just allowed more teams to have a chance at LCQ and world spots without forcing people to travel as much as they do now. But yeah, 1 year later, for I think viewership reasons, BSC reverted back to full regions, so every region played on only one server, and I think this was just a really bad change in my opinion. Because of this change, a lot of teams need to fly over 10 times a year like I did last year, or you have to literally live on the server for 6 months just to have a chance to qualify for like the Brawl Cup, LCQ, and Worlds this year. And that's the #1 reason why I quit. Last year I flew all those months just to get better ping, when the year before I could just play from my home knowing the circumstances would be fair and I wouldn't have any chance of lag or any of that. When you fly, sometimes you can't even trust the own Wi-Fi you're playing on for world finals because you're on some random Airbnb that the internet might die any second, or the Ethernet doesn't work, or the gaming cafe that you're paying to play at just decides to download games mid-monthly final and throws your chance at LCQ or Worlds. And there's like a million other reasons that just don't happen at home. And not just that, but knowing you have to travel that much in a year for just a chance at Worlds, you don't even know if you're gonna make Worlds. It's just an insane commitment. And every team that tries to make and win Worlds grinds so hard for a prize pool that hasn't even changed in 5 years. Every single year we hold hope that it's just gonna get better, but it never does. And it's the same disappointment every single year. Seeing the same $1 million World Finals prize pool, which we know 100% can get increased, but it just sadly doesn't. And yeah, if you make it to the grand finals or win Worlds, the grind paid off, but that's for 2 teams in the entire world. And for everyone else, it's hard to lose and see the same format and prize pool and more skill taken away from the game. And man, the production these last 2 months was actually horrendous. Like so bad, it was actually unwatchable, but I think it was a little bit better this month, so that's not that big of a deal. But yeah, the production overall, just not it this year. And also some pros like Boss, Czar, Bilal, like some of them got unbanned. I think Boss got unbanned and got to play that month, but Czar and Bilal didn't. And I feel like the admins are a bit unclear this year, especially with super strict TOS. I feel like definitely could be more clear there. Shout out Ambrose though, we definitely miss him. I think we need him back. Overall, I just think Brawl needs to care about its esport more. I mean, I completely understand catering to the casual player base, but somehow competitive's got to be some separate entity from like the casual game, because if it's not, or they don't change something about the draft, the meta, like more bans maybe, I just don't see anything changing. Like it doesn't seem like it's going to get any better from here. But yeah, that's my rant. Subscribe. Thanks for watching.